RKFQ students. So ISRAK, along with Department of FIC and also FIC, conducted this briefing because the demand from the student, from our department, and also the needs, because most of the student here, they will take their FYP in next semester, and their internship in the short semester after the next semester. So with us today, Dr. Akhtar Zaiti, our department internship coordinator as well as FIP coordinator. Oh, we also have our HOD, Dr. Mizairi. Uh, along with other lecturer like Dr. Ahmad. We have Dr. Hossam. Who else here? Dr. Buhaida is also here. Dr. Fatima. Um, who else with us today?
Saeed, Dr. Abdul Hamid.
Dr. Saeed, Dr. Abdul Hamid also here.
كثير منا إن شاء الله.
Inshallah. So because this session is really important to all of you students, especially me also, because I will also take FYP in the next semester. So make sure you all follow, listen carefully to all of the details, and jot down the information that will be given later. So without further ado, I'm inviting Dr. Akhtar Zaiti to conduct the briefing. With pleasure, please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Thank you, Amin, as a chairman for this session. Thank you very much for our head, Dr. Mizairi, and all respected lecturers from Department of FIC and SOFIC, and all our beloved students. So inshallah today we are going to have a briefing for practical training as well as FYP. So they have requested to have 2 sessions, but I think we can combine both for the sake of time, so that we can at least we have a brief idea of what both practical training as well as internship as well as FYP. As this matter I know has been discussed, and all the students has asked around about how this procedure and how is the registration, particularly for the FYP. So for your information, before we start, for the purpose of FYP 1 for this semester, we have collected all the application form. For this semester is special because we cannot have the normal registration whereby you can submit the application before the semester. But since what happened, as we know, for this semester we start with the PKP and procedure around our campus, so we cannot have that. So we have actually launched the Google form for the applications, and Alhamdulillah we have received a good response application from the student, whereby I think we have more than 40 students for this semester. So we are in the process of registering you for under one lecturer to supervise your FYP 1. For FYP 2, if any of you are here, for last semester you have done, if you have done the FYP 1, and I think everyone has passed the FYP 1 for last semester. So for this semester we will continue working with the same lecturer to prepare the research under the topic that you have prepared the proposal last semester. So you just continue working with them, even though we as the department still working on the registration, formal registration of the FYP2 as well. So you might not have received the formal registration yet, but I think we can start since we are now in the 2nd week going to the 3rd week of the semester. So I hope everybody can start working on the FYP2 as well. So for today's briefing, my intention is to give a short briefing of all what this is all about, and I will give more time for you for answer question and answer. So I don't know whether I think we can also, if you don't want to voice up your question, maybe you can write in the chat. Inshallah, we will able to answer that later. Right. So this briefing, of course, divided into two: practical training and academic exercise, or known also better known as FYP. All right. I will focus more on the FYP because for the practical training we have just finished for the last semester. It is only once a year, so the coming session will be next year. So we will have another briefing inshallah for that, but for the purpose of today, I will just give a brief information of the practical training. Then I will focus more on FYP, as I said, but if you have question on both sides, you can ask later. I will start
Excuse me, doctor.
now.
Is the limit of the participant 100 only? Because there are students who cannot join.
We have reached 100. We have reached 100?
Yes, we have reached 100.
I think so. I think so. We have only for Google Meet 100. Isn't that, Dr. Fuad?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think we can post the record after that, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
Okay.
Can we link to the, excuse me, can we link to, YouTube ke, kan? Tak boleh?
You can do, I don't know. Please do. If you can go to YouTube, is better, then everyone can look. Okay, can we start with the overview first? This is about both exercise, practical training, and academic exercise 1 and 2. They are elective subjects before. They are before electives, but now it has become, for many of you, I think we don't have any more those who are not compulsory to do both, which carries 6 credit hours each. Right, so 6 credit hours each, equal to 18. Equal to 12. 12 for both exercises. Practical training, as I said, conducted once a year during 3rd semester only, whereby academic exercise FYP1 and FYP2 shall require 2 normal semesters. Right? So it needs your proper planning actually for the students to when you should take practical training. You have to plan it to have towards the end of your study, and the requirement is that you have 1 more semester after you have completed your practical training. Right? So practical training as well as FYP, as the name indicate, FYP, final year project, it must be conducted at the end of the study period, because in both you are going to exercise what you have studied in the subjects before. So now you want to apply it in the working environment as well as writing exercise, right? So the idea is that it must be at the end of the study period, right? So that you have acquired all the knowledge during the study in the subjects, then you want to apply it now. So you have to properly plan for practical training. At least you have 1 more normal semester after you have completed your practical training. And for your FYP, ideally it must be in 4th year, right? So in 4th year, level 4, meaning you have semester 1 and semester 2, then you can complete FYP1 and FYP2 towards the end of your study, right? So that is the idea. Many students asking when to take, what are the requirements. So that the requirements there, but you have to also, it needs your planning and how you plan your study, right? I don't think that we need to remind you each semester that you should take this, you should register for this. You yourself must be aware of what you should do for practical training as well as the FYP both. This is our committee with Kim. For practical training, it is attachment program, requires normally 12 weeks. Right? Before COVID-19, it is 12 weeks, and we have conducted 12 weeks. But for this year, because of the situation we have gone through, we managed to have only 7 weeks. Right? So it is a shortened about half. So of course it is not an ideal duration for practical training, but we have managed to complete that, even though there are some problems over there. Alhamdulillah, quite a number of students also had passed the, I think more than 100 last semester 3. It shall be equal to 6 credit hours, as I said. Starting, okay, this is what you know already. Starting from this metric number, it's now become compulsory to do both practical training as well as FYP. Okay, the practical training must be completed before the last semester of the study. Meaning to say that after completed the practical training, you have one more semester to do. So you cannot do the because that is a requirement by the kuliah. You must have one more semester. You cannot have you completed everything, then only you do the practical training because of the requirements to marking and everything. It will affect your graduation. So the requirement you must plan that you have one more semester to go after completing the practical training. Objectives, I think this normal objectives for practical training to have exposure for the implementation of what you have studied in the class, to attain practical skills, to enhance the interpersonal relationship and communication skill, to boost students' confidence, right? And also, this is the last one is also important, to identify potential employers through networking. So this, alhamdulillah, throughout our experience last few years, many of students as well got the job after, at the same place of their practical training institutions after completing their study. So alhamdulillah, we can say that we have quite successful in realizing these objectives. Evaluation, this one I think we will talk about this once next year inshallah in detail. But this is the composition of the evaluation. It comprises of logbook, the attendance basically, the student report as well as supervisor's report, report from the supervisor or at the institutions, as well as our report as lecturer. Okay, at the moment, the students will be awarded pass or fail status. With the passing mark, we put 75. But I think why I said at the moment, because we will try to revise this, and we will, inshallah, if possible, to give normal grades, right? So normal grades, there are good things or also disadvantages as well. We need to say that if you have good grades, you meaning to say you have good grades for 2 subjects, as if, right? Because it is 6 credit hours. But if you fail, for example, na'udzubillah, or have low grades, right? Low grades for the practical training, it will also affect your CGPA, right? So we will work on this inshallah by next session next year. We will apply the new grading system inshallah, if the kuliah allow. This is a flow charts. For the flow charts, I think also we postpone this, but this is basically the procedure, application, and then previously we need approval, but since this is a required subject, this approval actually basically we will filter the student according to the place of internship, and we don't want to send you to places which are not suitable to your ability and your interest and whatnot, right? So we'll just filter on that, but basically we have to approve everybody because this is a required subject. Then we will issue letter to the institutions. If they accept, then at the stipulated date you will go for report duty, and then you send the report duty to the department, and you record the attendance throughout the period. If it is 12 weeks, you have to record the attendance for 12 weeks. And then at the end of the exercise, you will submit our reports, which will be evaluated by the department lecturers, and we will issue the results later on. So this is basically the flow charts, which we'll discuss in detail when the time comes, right? The documents which must be submitted, which are important for the exercise, of course, the application form, logbook, report duty form, and supervisor report form. Everything available in the Kuliah website, right? So you can have a look at that. But at the end of the exercise, you must submit these 3 reports, because the evaluation will be based on these 3 reports. Important point is that how to find a place. So I think for the purpose of finding a place, if you intend to do the internship next year, I think from the beginning, from now, I think you can start looking around for suitable places. What is actually the area of your interest, right? Don't go for something which is popular but not actually suited you. So please find a place which you think that you have interest in this particular area. For example, you are interested in Syariah course, for example, right? Or you are interested in business even, right? So you can find places which is suitable for your interest and your ability as well. So since you have time now, you can look around. So what are the places or the institutions which is actually suitable for you, and what you intend to do in future as well. What you intend to do in future. If you ask a lecturer, where can I do the practical training, we can answer for you for certain, because this is depending on your own traits, your own abilities, your own interests. So you should decide for yourself. But I think ISRAK has already started the initiative to compile possible companies for the students' reference, for your own reference only. So what are the places which are basically before the student before you, the seniors, has already attended these places, right? For you to make the choice, right? So this is the, okay. We come now to the FYP. So I think FYP is more important for now, because we are going to start, and we have already actually started for FYP 2, right? For FYP 1, we have, as I said, we are in the midst of dividing the student into sections, right? For this exercise, students are required to produce an extended essay or the research in the region of 10,000 words in his specialization area. So you have to choose a topic. For this purpose also, even though you are now, you are not going to take yet, maybe next semester, but it is timely for you to choose what is actually the area that you want to write on. Especially you have gone through many subjects with your lecturers before. You have taken fiqh ibadah, fiqh jinayah, fiqh muamalat, and many others. Maybe during your study, right, you come across a topic or an area which need more research, for example. So you have to focus on that issue, from the beginning. And not only that, then if you want to take the FYP this semester, then only on the first week of the semester you start to think from zero. No, right? So actually it is coming from the previous exercise. The second tips is that since you are also required to take the research methodology, so I think during the research methodology, you also need to do some proposal, I think, right? Proposal, a certain proposal you have to prepare for the subject. So I think you can take this opportunity to try to look into to do the bahas, or to do the assignment in the research methodology 2999 in the area that you have identified, right? So that also can develop you later. It will help you very much when you come to FYP, because everything has already been there since you are doing the the research methodology. The essay must contain a report, a report of a research work carried out by the student under the supervision of an advisor appointed by the department. So this is actually the result of the result of both FYP1 and FYP2. So FYP1, FYP2, it must be done in 2 consecutive semesters. So it is a continuous work actually. So at the end, this is the result. Objectives to provide students with an opportunity to apply research methods in academic writing, right? So it's a training for you to do the research, right? It might be in your working area in the future. Maybe you are required to do research. So this is opportunity for you to apply the methodology you have learned, how to apply research in our field, which is fiqh and usul fiqh. Train the students to interpret and analyze data, right? So we have data, so how to analyze. Yani tahlil maklumat needs certain expertise or training on that. Enhance students' ability to think and write critically. Maybe previously, if you do the courses, and you take the courses, right? Maybe your intention is only to pass the exam, right? So by having this, I think you will start to think when you take a course, you will start to think critically the issues that you have encountered with when you study that subject, right? Because if you know that you are going to write on something, so of course you will be very critical in data and all the maklumat or all the information regarding the topics that you have interested in. Develop students' ability to construct academic work, especially when you have the intention to pursue a study in masters and PhD. So this is a good training ground for you as a start before you the essay. Okay, this is for the both, I think. The essay must be at the very minimum an organized exposition of the chosen topic with systematic and orderly presentation of facts and ideas, right? Maybe for the purpose of YP1 and YP2, you are not expected to come out with a thesis like master's thesis or PhD thesis, not that level, but it is basically you will be able to look into data and organize the data and how to understand issues from the data provided, right? And you present that data and facts and ideas in a form of a research, right? So that is the minimum requirement that is expected of you. You are not required, for example, to look into a new ijtihad in the area, for example. It is sufficient if you can look into the adillah and look into the aqwal al-fuqaha, then you come up with tarjih, for instance, or look into the other subject, then it is sufficient for your level, right? In addition, the technical requirements of scholarly writing must be strictly observed, such as correct citations, transliteration, and bibliography. So this we have studied in 2999, research methodology. So that's why it is made a requirement. The research methodology is a prerequisite. You cannot take FYP1 unless you have already taken the research methodology course, right? So you can plan accordingly. The writing can be either in Arabic or English. You can write in Arabic or English. Students must properly plan, as I said. It requires 2 normal consecutive semesters, right? If you start in semester 1, for example, you will finish in semester 2. Semester 3 is not counted, right? If you start in semester 2, then it is straight away semester 2 and semester 1 the next session. At the end of first semester, the student must submit a write-up of about 500 words to the department. And so this is for FYP1, right? A completed work with acceptable academic quality must be submitted by the end of the second semesters, right? So you have more or less close to 1 year in order to complete that. Student must be at least completed 6 semesters before registering for FYP1, ideally 3rd year, 2nd semester, right? I think this also depending on your study plan. Some of you might finish earlier. So you have to plan that you have 2 more semesters to go. Then you apply for FYP 1. Right? So ideally, as I said, it is towards the end of your study, because the name also say that final year project. So it must be at the end of your study, right? So many ask me where to start, where to apply. So the answer is this: you have to plan it properly to have towards the end of your study. Ideally, the final year, or so that here 3rd year, 2nd semester. Okay, so the student must apply to the department by submitting application form at least 1 week before the first semester. This not happened for this semester. Inshallah, we will abide by this. We will open for the application. If it is more convenient to have the Google form, then I think it will be, you can proceed with this exercise, so that everybody can apply even you are at your home, right? A synopsis of the intended topic. This is also very important. The application that I received for this semester, many of you indeed, have provided the synopsis, or at least the topic, what is the area of the intended topic in your application form, so that we know what is your interest and who is the lecturer which should be assigned to you, right? Because we have lecturers in our department with many specialization. All right, so you, if you put clearly your intended topic and what you are going to do, we can assign you to the right lecturer to guide you. Department will appoint an advisor and a lecturer and register for the exercise. We will register under normal sections, right? 2 or 3 students under 1 lecturer. Students must consult appointed lecturers. It is not lecturer who should find you. You are the one who should find your lecturers, right? And consult them, right? At least 8 times throughout the semester. If you refer to the kuliah guidelines on the FYP, it is stated that you have to consult the lecturer at least 8 times. And in the kuliah guideline also, you have a specific form. Every time you do the consultation, you have to fill in that form with your lecturer, right? So that you have a trace every time of the meeting, what is actually the development and what is actually the guidelines which has been provided by your lecturers, right? So that is a requirement. It is your duty to consult your lecturer, and it is not your lecturer's duty to find you, right? So please, everyone, when you know your lecturer, contact the lecturer and consult him regularly, at least 8 times. 8 times is the at least minimum. You can consult more than that, of course, with the adab and with the specific time as agreed with the lecturer. Don't contact them at night, for example, right? Important documents: application form, consultation form. So this is what I said just now. FYP student guidelines, everything provided in the kuliah website. Okay, the flow charts, application to the department, we have done this. Approval by department, student to submit intended topic and within the application form. And then this is where we are now, department to appoint advisor or lecturer or supervisor. Registration by department within week 1, but now we are already week 2 because of date registration that we or opening of the application. We have opened last week and reopen this week on Monday, because many of you still cannot manage to apply. Consultation with appointed lecturers starting next week. Inshallah, you will be able to consult your appointed lecturers. If possible, can also form a groups for them, Google Classroom, for example, to make your consultation easier, with, of course, agreement of your lecturers. At the end, submission of research proposal. So for this semester, for example, at the end of this semester, meaning January next year, you have to submit a research proposal. Basically what is the research proposal because you have already taken the research methodology 2999. Right? So this is what you have to submit for this semester. So then if it is for FYP2, submission of completed research, right? So for the FYP2 is actually you continue with what you have prepared in the proposal, just you carried out the research that you have proposed in the proposal. And then for both, there will be evaluation by appointed lecturer and you will get the result. Okay, this is also important. Students' responsibilities. What are your responsibilities? To consult the appointed supervisor and discuss all aspects of the research according to agreed schedule. Right? You have to have an agreement with your lecturer when you should have the meeting with her or him. You have also to monitor on progress according to the time schedule. Right? So if you're, for example, for this semester, we have 14 weeks. 14 weeks, we're already week 2. So I mean to say more or less you have 12 weeks more. So plan accordingly, right? Next week, this week, what will be your own achievement in providing the proposal, for example? So you need to have your own monitoring system, how to monitor yourself, right? It's not that at the end of the semester, then only you want to rush your lecturer to consult him or her on your work. Don't do that, right? So that will not, you have to monitor the progress according to the time. Document all feedbacks from the supervisor during meeting. So you have the form, you have to put everything in your form so that everything documented and can refer back if you need in the future. Proofread their works before submission, right? This is especially if your lecturer is not satisfied with your language, you have to do some proofreading. It might incur some cost, but it is not actually for all. Only if it is needed. But it's good to have a proofreading before the final submission. So this also will influence your result. Fund own research cost. If there is a cost, proofreading of course need cost, reading material and whatnot, but you have to fund your own research. I think now for the purpose of references, we have books and references in the library. We have also the online references as well. So for that, I think there is no much cost except for proofreading and things like that. The last one is also very important. Adhere to the ethical guidelines. This is especially with regard to plagiarism, right? So plagiarism. So at the end of your the submission, the lecturer will need to do the turn it in, whereby you will for the purpose of looking whether this is your own work or actually the cut and paste from others' works, right? So plagiarism, you have to observe that, right? So this is very critical area. Okay, so I will focus on FYP1 first, right? Then FYP2. For FYP1, the student needs to prepare a research proposal by the end of the semester. The research proposal shall consist of 5,000 to 6,000 words, or between 17 to 20 pages. Students are very concerned about pages. Every time doing research, doing assignment, the first question will be, how many pages? So for the purpose of research proposal, it is between 17 to 20 pages, excluding the title page, references, and appendix, if any. Right? So this is the range between 17 to 20. Okay, components of the proposal. So this actually you have studied in your research methodology, RKFQ 2999. I just will refresh it here. It will consist of the anasir al-khutta. Anasir al-khutta. We started with the introduction, background of the research, research question, research objectives, significance. I think also here we need the statement of problem, mushkilatil bahas, right? Then you have the literature review, dirasat sabiqah, right, to evaluate the existing scholarly literature related to topic. So you know already what should be the component of the literature review, right? Then you have to state your methodology, methodology or techniques employed to answer the research questions, right? Then you have the conclusion. Conclusion here is not conclusion of research because you are not doing research yet. You are doing the proposal only. So in your conclusion, in your proposal, it is basically about the limitations, about the expected outcome only. Sometimes we don't even have this conclusion, right? And the last page will be the initial reference list. I think we have also to include here the haikal al-bahas. The haikal al-bahas, or the structure of your topics. What are the subtopics that you're going to do in your research, right? So this, so I taken this from the kuliah guidelines. So, but for us, I think it is a practice that we have the haikal al-bahas at the end before the bibliography, before the references. We have the haikal al-bahas as well. This is very important because after you completed and you continue the FYP2, you will be based on this haikal al-bahas in order to carry out the FYP2. So you have to be clear from FYP1 what are the haikal or what are the subtopics of your research. Okay, evaluation, FYP1. So how the lecturer will give you marks. So this is for introduction, 30%, background 10%, research questions 10%, objective significance 10%. And background that also included, I think together with background is the mushkilatul bahas, right? So it will comprise of 30% here. Literature review 30%. How extensive is your literature review? Although you have, whether you have covered all the important literature and the topics or not, how you analyze the literature review. So this will give you the 30% of the marks. Methodology, what are the methods you are going to use in your research? Also will be, if it is very clear what are the method and very suitable for the topics, then you will be given the mark accordingly. Lastly, for the format and language, another 10%. So it will be 100% for FYP1, right? Next, we move to the FYP2, RKFQ 4997. It is a continuation of FYP1, and the student to prepare a research based on the proposal prepared in FYP1. No change of topic. You have, like it or not, to continue with the topic that you have prepared in FYP1. You cannot say that I don't want to continue with the topic from FYP1. I want to have a new one. Cannot, right? You have to continue with the same research same topic like you proposed in the FYP1. So lecturers have to monitor this. Same supervisor will supervise the work. So the result of this FYP2, 10,000 to 12,000 words, right? Or between 40 to 50 pages, excluding the bibliography, excluding the appendix, if any, excluding the title page, right? Between 40 to 50. Times New Roman 12 or traditional Arabic 18, spacing 1.5. So this is actually in the kuliah guidelines. The final version must be submitted. Okay, so for the purpose of submission, for FYP1, it must be submitted latest by 14 weeks, right? I mean, the final week of the semester. All right, so this is for FYP1. For FYP2, you are given the buffer time, right? It must be submitted between week 14 of the current semester. This is the best one, right? If you manage to submit within week 14 of the semester, but you are given until the week 2 of the subsequent semester, right? I think for the purpose of this, week 2 of the subsequent semester will also include third semester, right? Otherwise it will be too long, right? So week 14 of the current semester until the last day is week 2 of the subsequent semester, whether subsequent semester is semester 3 or semester 2, semester 1, the coming. Okay, so this is the during the period pending the result, you will be given IP grading, right? So but you have to monitor so that you not exceed the week 2 of the subsequent semester. Ideally, the best is that you submit within week 14, right? But because of the nature of the work, sometimes you need to you submit the final draft. Maybe your lecturer have some observation, you need to redo some aspect, so maybe you need more time, right? So that's why it's given until week 2 of the subsequent semester. Okay, evaluation for the FYP2, introduction, because this is I think some of the these items already you have already when you prepare FYP1, right? So the thing is that how you manage to put it together in your research and expand it further, right? For introduction, how you put your introduction, it may be a different introduction or some aspects included from your first FYP1, right? But for the purpose of marking introduction, whether you introduce your topic clearly, that will give you 10%. Literature review, all right, basically from FYP1, but you can also include some other new literature review, if any, that will give you 10%. Methodology, 10%. And method here is not only the statement that you use this method, يعني طريقة تحليلية دراسة استقرائية, not only that statement, but whether you have already carried out that method throughout the study or not, right? So this is what I mean by methodology, 10% here. The greater marks goes to the findings, right? What is the nata'ij al-bahas? Whether this nata'ij bahas is actually the result of what you have done in your research, then you come out with the findings that you have stated in basically in your conclusion. So findings will give you another 30 marks. Discussion and conclusion. So how you discuss the topic, and how towards the end you conclude the issue. So that will give you 20 marks. And lastly, format and language. Right? Format and language will give you 20%. Right? So for the purpose of format and language, especially, you can refer to the I think CPS also have the format in their website. You can follow the format for the postgraduate. It will not be different, right? So that will give you 20%, right? At the end of the period, in the end of the FYP2, you have to submit a hard copy as well to the lecturer, to the department for our safekeeping, so that your research will be available at our department for reference, inshallah, right? Okay, I think that I will end my briefing. The name is briefing, so it will be very brief, but I give more time to you for Q&A. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention. I will pass the session back to Ani. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you to Dr. Akhtar Zaiti for the briefing just now. So we move on to the Q&A session. So if anyone have question, you can open your mic and ask, or you can type your question at the chat.
Assalamualaikum. Salam. Sorry, before that, any other lecturers also can answer, not only me. Okay. Any question?
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Alhamdulillah.
My name is Aina, and I have a question about the topic. Is it possible for us to change the topic after we get the respective supervisor? Meaning it is in the same area, but only the topic is changed.
Okay. Change of topic is possible with discussion with your lecturer. All right. I think if it is within the same area, it will not be a problem, right? You can still, but that's subject to your discussion with your lecturer. I think the lecturer will be flexible enough because you are the one who are going to do the research, not the lecturer. So it must be subject with you are comfortable with. So before you started, but don't change your topic towards the middle of the semester. No, before you start the work, you discuss first, right? And of course, no change of topic after FYP1. You have to proceed with the same. I hope I answered the question, Aina.
Yes, madam. Doctor. Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Assalamualaikum.
My name is Amirul. I want to ask, you allowed to choose our own advisor or supervisor, or it was set by department?
Okay. It will be appointed by department, right? It will be appointed by department. Otherwise, then we cannot have a balanced number of students for each of the lecturer. Right?
All right, thank
Some
you, Doctor.
famous lecturer like Ustaz Fuad will get more. Okay, any other question? So we will assign to you the name of the lecturer. Hopefully it will be I think that all our lecturers, they are very helpful. They will help you in the area, and we try the best to give the lecturer who have the same specialization with the topic, right? Any other question? This is a time for you. Don't message me at the night, during the night, to ask about the FYP1, FYP2. This is the time now for you to ask. Any other?
Madam, doctor. I have another question. If our FYP, if our research need interview method, is it okay for us to conduct interview in this situation?
In this situation, you mean situation
In
now?
this pandemic. Yes.
Okay, so normally without the COVID-19, without the PKP, you can, but during the time like this, it is not advisable, right? Even though you say that you can do the interview using the Google, Google form, Google interview online, but I don't think the response will be good, right? Because everybody is busy with something else. But my advice, it is not advisable to have that kind of research for the time being. But to answer you whether it is okay or not, it is, but will give you more problem. So that's my worry.
All right, doctor. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Muzur.
I want to ask you about the marking method. I mean, we have done our practical training, but we got only pass, 6 credit only pass. It's not increase our CGPA. So what about the this research final year project? What about this, like pass or there is grading?
Final year project is grading. It will be given the grade. Right? Unlike the practical training, for the time being, yes, you are right. We only give pass and fail, will not affect your CGPA. But as I said just now, we are looking forward to do the marking, normal grading as well. Right? For FYP1, FYP2, it is normal grading basically. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Fuad or Dr. Mus? Dr. Mus here? It is grading, right, Dr. Fuad?
For what?
FYP.
Yeah.
Normal grading. It is normal grading. Existingly, it is already normal grading. So work hard, you get good CGPA. You have good marks, you have good CGPA because it carries two subjects. Any other question?
Doctor, Michael.
Okay.
What if we apply to the company and all the company will reject us? So what should we do?
Okay. This is for practical training. As I said, you can look around the possible company to accept you. Okay. You can choose I mean, we will open the application the early weeks of the second semester, because the practical training is during the short semester. In the second semester, we are already open for application, right? Early semester 2, we are already open for application. We do not allow for you to to apply to more than one at one time, right? So the letter will be issued by the department. You just provide us with the address. Before providing the address, you must make sure that that company actually receives student. All right. So that's why it is important for you to ask first whether it is possible. Maybe they cannot answer certainly whether they can accept that. They have the possibility to accept, right? The practice of accepting practical student. So then only you can aim that company, right? So immediately in the semester 2, you send the address to the department, and the department issue the letter. That letter you will have to send to the respective organization, right? So once you have submit the application, whether through email or through post, after 2 weeks, the most 1 week, more than 1 week or 2 weeks, you have to communicate with them, right? To update with them whether your application is successful or not, right? So always update with them. If not, then you have to list down a few organizations. Do not aim at one only. So if your first attempt fail, you can straight away give the second address, right? So that we can do the procedure again, right? Why we do not allow to have 2 applications or more in one time? Because of course you will have to attend one only, right? If you apply 2 or more and both of them accept you, then you have to choose only one. That will give a bad reputation to the department and to the student, right? In future, the company will say we will not accept the student from department fake, also fake, because sometimes we receive and we reject the application of the students and they didn't come. So that's the reason why we don't want to have more than one application at one time for one student, right? I hope I answer you.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor, so that means that the application letter for internship, is the student who are going to submit the application letter to the company, or will the department send it for us?
Application to the department, but upon application, because we open for the application, in the application form you have set the address, right, for the first round, right? So the address where you want to submit your letter. So the department will prepare the letter. Then it is your obligation to take the letter, meaning online for the time being. You take the letter and you send it to the respective organization, not department, right? It's your own responsibility. And to follow up also your own duty. Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Assalam.
I have a question. As you said before, we have to take FYP 1 and 2 in consecutive 2 long semester, right? So is that mean we can't take FYP 1 in semester 2 and FYP 2 the next year, first sem?
Okay. For that matter, you can ask at home. Okay. You can. Right?
Okay.
I think if you need more time, that will be a good time, because it give you more time.
Okay. Not so necessary 1 year lah kan?
Yes,
Okay.
not consecutive mean consecutive normal semester, right?
Okay, okay.
Normal semester.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, welcome. Other question? Do you have any question in chat? Tak ada? No.
One question in chat.
Mm.
He said, can you explain more about the objective for the internship so that we can target which company we should go for intern? The question from Brother Amir.
Mm. Objective for the internship, we have explained just now what are the internship. If you can remember, to boost your confidence, communication skill, and to apply your the fiqhi implementation of your when you have studied in the subjects, right? So that's why I think to answer the question, which company should you go, that will be very much on your own personal pursuit, your personal interest. All right. We put all the objectives. So this is what you have to achieve to boost your confidence, to implement your what you have studied in the classroom, also to look into the possible employment in future. So these are the objectives, right? But to answer which company is suitable, this is only you can answer, right? Any other question?
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
I have one question. For example, if we want to apply internship for SEM 3 next year, is there any due date for the application in the semester 2? Like for
we will fix the date, right? Okay. I think the question is like this. When you apply for the first time, the beginning of semester 2, you apply for the first time, you got rejected, for example. Is there any time limit for the second, third application? There will be no time limit. Even though 1 week before you start in the semester 3, you still be given the opportunity. But for the first round, you have a certain time limit. We don't receive the fresh application from new student who did not apply before. For example, end of semester 3, then only you want to apply for the first time. That will not be allowed. But if you apply within the time in the, for example, first of week 2 or week 1 or week 2 of the second semester, we open the application. Then we have a number of students who apply. For example, 100 students applied, right? So this 100 students, we will issue the first letter. But for the purpose of second, third issuance, because if, for example, you fail or you got rejected for the first company, you want to apply for second company, that one we open until towards the end of the semester 2, before you start with the semester 3. We have the practice before. 1 week before the date to start the practical training, you found a place during this week. So we still accept that. We open for you, but not for the first time application. I hope I answer you.
yes, thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Doctor, I have another question. During this pandemic situation, COVID-19, it is necessarily to choose a company that apply work from home, or we can take any other company that require us to come to the office.
Okay. We really hope that next year we are back to normal. This is our doa, inshallah. Everything will be okay. We'll be free from pandemic, inshallah. Next year we'll be able to do normal practice like practical training before. Then you don't have any question of working from home or what. But if situation still persists, I think that one also we cannot answer for certain, because that depends on the government announcement, right? So basically, the ideal is work at office. That is the best if you can. But we need to follow the direction from the from the government also on this, right? And also the company also they follow the government announcement. I think the company also they will prefer you to attend the office, right? The work from home is not a choice actually, but it is a second choice if the physical working is not possible. So I think to answer that will be very much depend on the situation.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Salam. Tolong.
I have one question. Just now you say that before we apply for any company for internship program, we have to confirm that the kind of company offered the internship program. So how we get how we need to know
How do you know
that kind
that?
of company? Yeah, and
Okay.
for example, we are from Department of Field so how we to get know that kind of company is accept student from Department of Field.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is important to us and to make sure that the company accept practical training students previously, and because if you send to the company which doesn't receive any student before, then it is a waste of time. So you have to apply new, right? So that's why the question is how to know that. So I think some companies they have their human resource department, right, whereby you can look into their website to find the information, or you can straight away call them. Right? It's not a problem. You call the company and ask whether there is possibility for them to receive practical students, right? So if you look into the, I think ISRAK, you can publish your database on the previous practical training institutions. If it is within that list, I think it is surely they receive the students. But for the purpose of it is better to check with them before you send application to them, right? So to answer your question, I think you can just straight away call the human resource department of the company, right? There is a possibility that maybe, especially in the time like this, they don't receive student, right? They received student previously, but during the pandemic, they didn't want to receive because they have also enough problem. They don't want to take any more students. They have more problem with their staff already, so they cannot manage to take students sometimes due to the pandemic. But maybe also they need people to work from home, for example, and need the practical students to do that. That's why we need to call them or to give an email to the respective people in that department, in that institutions. Right? So just call out, no problem.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Salam, Ustazah. I have a question. Do you have a workshop for FYP1? Like a workshop explaining on the details of the format, tips and sample on how to write a proposal and stuff?
Okay, previously last semester we have for FYP1 we have a kind of workshop, but actually you can start working with your supervisor already, right? Because of situation like this, we cannot manage to do a normal workshop. But if you need that, right, we can arrange for a Google Meet session for general general discussion on the format of FYP, inshallah. Right? We will discuss.
Yeah, I think that would be
I
great.
think ISRAK can work
Thank you.
it out. How many students we need that? All the students need that. We will conduct, and what are the expectations from this workshop, so to say. Or if it is sufficient to work with your own lecturer, then I think you can depend on the directions from your own lecturer. But if it is needed, then we will conduct a general workshop for that, like next semester, inshallah. Alright, Isra, we can
Alright, thank you,
arrange
Sarah.
for that, inshallah. The discussion with Dr. Mus, Dr. Mus will arrange that with Isra, inshallah. Any other question? Can we allow Anik for how many questions more? Yeah.
Wait a minute, doctor. Maybe we can accept a question because there are still time. So, any other question? This is your chance to ask question.
Yeah. If you don't like to expose yourself, then you can write in chat.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe at the time being, I want to introduce you our new lecturer. Maybe some of you not yet know him. Dr. Sahid. Dr. Sahid, you are with us? Dr. Sahid? Maybe he's not listening. Right?
Yeah.
Dr. Sahid also, will be given students to supervise for FYP1, inshallah. You will work with him. He will be very helpful, inshallah, and all our other lecturers as well.
Mike, Dr. Said. Dr. Said.
Dr. Sahid, he left for
Mike,
coffee
Mike.
actually, maybe.
No. He's around.
Dr. Altar,
Naam.
if one student will to continue FYP 1 and 2 in the same lecture, is possible or not?
It will be the same lecturer, no change.
Okay, thank you.
No change because you already worked with that lecturer for the proposal. Then it is good to continue with, unless the lecturer is no longer with us, for example, then we assign another one. Ideally, we will give the same lecturer. So for FYP 2 this semester, you start continue with the same lecturer with
Previous student.
FYP
Okay.
1 last year, last semester.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, there is a question. How about if one student supposed to register for FYP2, but he or she miss the registration process?
FYP 1, FYP 2.
No, it's FYP2. He's supposed to register this semester, but not yet registered.
The department will register for FYP 2.
Yeah.
FYP 2, you don't need to apply.
Oh.
Department will register if you pass the FYP 1. I think everybody pass. If you don't pass, there's another question. If you do not pass your FYP 1, all right, then you need to redo the FYP 1. Pass the FYP 1, then only you proceed with FYP 2. Right? So make sure you pass.
The doctor.
Yeah.
We know in PhD and master, and the finishing touch is for binding. Is there any manual, special manual for final year project?
Manual for the
Yes.
Template for the formatting.
Yes.
I
The
think
same with manual in CPS or another manual.
For that purpose, the guidelines, FYP guidelines by the Kuliah has already, have their own format. General information about formatting. But I think you can also follow the CPS formatting, right? So for the binding, okay, another issue for the after FYP 2, all right. Submission to the lecturer can be with soft copy or hard copy, but later after that, the Kuliah had give the decision to the department to decide whether a student must submit the hard copy binding, hard binding. What? hard copy binding lah, yang for the final result for the thesis itself, right? The kuliah has already stated in their kuliah guidelines, but the decision whether to make a requirement or not, it is up to the department, right? To require the student, because it need cost also to print and to have hard cover binding, right? I think it's good to have a kind of hardcover binding to be submitted to the department, so that we have all the student thesis in our department, so that it can be referenced in future, right? So I think so far I think we have one batch already with 3 or 4 students with Dr. Fatimah. Whether Dr. Fatimah with us?
Fatimah.
Yes,
I
Doctor.
think so.
So I think last semester 3 students have already completed FYP 2, right? With you?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
All pass.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Good grades.
A minus and B minus. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So this is the first batch of our department. I don't know whether we have requested them to send the hardcover binding.
I think no.
Not yet.
Because last year, yes. Because last year just Maza, soft copy.
Soft copy only.
Yeah,
Soft copy.
Only soft copy.
We decide at the department level whether it is we make it a requirement or not in the next department meeting, inshallah. You as students, do you prefer to submit or you don't want? Due to the cost, because we have to consider the cost as well, right? Never mind, we will announce what we will discuss in the department, whether we make a requirement or not, right? Inshallah, we will inform later.
Any other questions?
Doctor, I want to ask about FYP. For the reference, is there any certain number or limit that student needs to follow?
Reference. Reference in the bibliography.
Yes.
I think a number will be acceptable number. Right? We don't have a specific number of references, but it will be different according to the subjects. Some subjects does not have many references. Some may have more, right? So it is a reasonable number of references.
Okay, thank you.
But for that purpose, you have to. There are 2 things. One is the number of the references within your literature review. I don't know which one is your question. And the second one is the references in your bibliography. Right? So for the purpose of literature review, again, number might varies, different according to the subject, but it must cover all important, especially the latest publication or the latest references in that subject. Right? Usually we put 10 references within the literature review, but of course within the bibliography it will be more, because in bibliography is all the references, right? For example, if you're writing a topic on faith, yeah, of course they are also referring to kutub sunnah, kutub tafsir, for example, that also included in your bibliography. So there's no limitation or no minimum number, but it is maybe reasonable numbers of 20 or 30 references, right? To show that you already look into the related references in that topic. Okay, don't worry about the numbers. It is a reasonable number is acceptable. Okay.
Another question in the chat from Sister Nurul Farhana. Doctor, for the FYP title, do we need to have a new topic that isn't similar with the previous one?
FYP title, do we need to have a new topic that isn't similar with the previous one? I understand this. Do you mean that for FYP2? For FYP, it will be the
For
same.
the title for the FYP, Doctor, it means do we need to create a new topic that there are no other previous FYP before? Yes.
Okay. If I say yes, there will be big problem. Right? So I said just now that for the purpose of FYP, for the BA level, it is not necessarily that you write on new topic, new areas whereby no others have already talking about that. No. Right? So I know that because you have studied in your research methodology, that in research you have to come out with a new topic. That is especially expected from the master and PhD students. But for the purpose of FYP for baccalaureate, you are not expected to come up to that level. Right? It is sufficient, as I said just now, you discuss the topic you analyze the topic which has already discussed before. So for example, you take one fiqh issues, one fiqh issue, right? Take example of for instance, ta'til solat al-jum'ah ahli corona, for example, right? So that's your topic, to hold Jamaah prayer during the COVID-19 period, right? So that is the issue, for example. Alright. So for instance, if you can take the opinions of the scholars, right? Take the opinions of the scholars, then you analyze. Those are scholars who said that it is permissible, and these are scholars who said it is not permissible. Then you do some kind of analysis of both opinions, and you can make a simple tarjih on that. That will be sufficient. Like which one is in your opinion is more suitable to be applied, for instance, right? So just an example, right? It's just not necessarily that you do your own ijtihad. There's no issue which is not others have already come with that, or maybe you can agree with one of the scholar's opinion, right? And you explain why you agree with him, for instance. That will be sufficient, not necessarily new issues, right?
Any other question?
There's no question, but Dr. Ahtan, maybe you saw the act in Malaysia related to plagiarism, because there are act in Malaysia related to educational institution. The students shall not plagiarize any idea. So maybe you explain about plagiarism for students.
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism.
As I understand, plagiarism is that to take others' idea and to put it as yours. Mischievously, and you take others' idea and you claim that this is your ideas. But to take others' ideas and to put in the footnotes and references that you have, or this idea is actually from this specific writers, right? That is not plagiarism, right? I don't know whether that's correct or not, but that is my understanding of the plagiarism. But it is normal, but it is actually for normal for students, even in the master and PhD level, to istifadah min others and come up with some kind of tahlil on that existing ideas. That will be required as a scientific research, but not to take the ideas of others and do not put any references to that, and only any acknowledgement on that ideas taken from others. That will be a plagiarism, which is not acceptable. But if you properly put the citation, put the references, then it is okay. It is expected, especially for BA level.
Thank you.
Oh, Dr. Muntaha, you are more well-versed than me on this.
Because when I check my students' papers, sometimes I got many citations from internet. The Turnitin detect is it.
But they did not put the references.
Yes, they put reference, but two more. More than 40, more than.
Okay,
So,
that is method lah. Method. Maybe you can advise the student. I mean, not to take maybe you can get the idea from the references, but you come up with your own. I mean, explanation on that, and give the acknowledgement to that resources. Not to take it as it is. A full verbatim quotation from the others that will not be very good in terms of the research, right? So in terms of marking, then discussion and finding will be given lower mark lah in your evaluation, right? Because we have for the marking, we have marks for discussion. So if there is no discussion, just quotation, then you cannot give marks, good marks for that kind of research, I think.
Okay, we are supposed to end at 11 actually. So there are still time.
Let's put
Yes.
until 10:30, can? 5 minutes more?
10:40.
10:40.
10:40, maybe.
If we have the question. If not, we just end here.
Any more question? This is a chance for you.
One more
Yes.
question.
Okay.
For the Tunitin, I want to ask, is there any percentage that we have to make below the percentage for the Tunitin? For example, below 40% or what?
Okay, it's a good question. We don't have a specific guidelines from the kuliah, but I think it's good to follow the APS, to follow the postgraduate, which is 20 dah tentang
yes, 20.
20 is the maximum.
And Doctor,
Mm.
maybe students should know that any single word you copy from internet and paste in your paper will be detected by Turnitin. So any single word. For example, you take N or the to your paper, Turnitin will detect this word.
So how? Use other. Of course, we will use the words.
So don't make copy and paste.
Okay. That's why I said you get the idea from the references, and you rephrase in your own language.
Yes.
The idea is there, but you rephrase in your own language. That is research lah, actually, not just to cut and paste as it is. That's why we allow up to 20, because that will give the end, right? So that is within that limit.
There's a question, one more question in the chat pertaining about the internship.
Can you read the question, Anik?
Okay, Doctor. I'm 4-year student, but not yet intern due to application problem last semester. Is it possible for me to proceed internship for my last semester, which doctor mentioned the internship program should be done a semester before end, or should I extend a semester in order to allow me to do the internship? Thank you.
Okay. I mean the issue is for the normal study period, because if I can understand from the question, you have applied before, but until the end you cannot manage to secure a place for your internship. So in special cases like that, since it is a requirement, I think you can proceed with the final semester in the third semester. I don't think you need to extend your study, right? But maybe your graduation, it will affect your graduation lah. That's a problem. Maybe because we need time to collect the documents. They need time to give the marks to the student. So I'm afraid that will not possible for you to be listed in the graduation list for that particular year. So that's the risk lah. But to answer your question, yes, you can possibly because it is a requirement. Right? It is a requirement. Like it or not, you have to do the practical training. Otherwise, you cannot graduate. Right? So that because of that, I think you can take the practical training even though you don't have any more semester to go, and you don't have to take new semester just for the purpose of completing that. Right? Yeah, I can share a question. Okay.
Any other question?
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Assalamualaikum.
Is it the same lecturer will guide students for FYP and the internship one? Or department will
Not
look in
necessarily.
lecturer?
No, not necessarily. Two different issue. If you get same lecturer, it is only by chance, but you not arrange for that. Okay.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
Any other question? This is the chance for you to ask directly to our coordinator and other lecturers that are present here.
Or maybe any other lecturers want to add anything? Dr. Mustafa with us? Anything to add?
Dr. Mustafa not with us.
Dr. Akhtar, is there any workshop or for students related to final year project?
We discussed just now. One of the students asked, since we have the appointed lecturer, the appointed lecturer will guide them. But if they need the workshop, general workshop to, because for the time being, of course, we cannot have a physical meeting for the workshop. The workshop will be like
Online.
this, the online Google Classroom. If there is a need, then we will conduct. The ISRAK will ask around the student whether they need or not. Then
Inshallah.
Inshallah, we will arrange. Dr. Mustafa will arrange for the session, inshallah.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? If not, I assume that no one have.
Assume everyone is clear about everything. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So we end our Q&A session.
How can Sister Hafiza with different people?
Separate meeting.
Okay. Okay, so
actually has something to say.
Maybe something from our head of department to say about this.
I think he's in a meeting just now. He was walking to the meeting just now. Ada Dr. Mizari.
Please open your mic, Doctor.
Open your mic.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Actually, I'm following the discussion, but I don't know. Mine is suddenly, go out.
Okay.
Okay.
Any
I following
comment?
the discussion.
Anything you want to explain to the student?
Regarding FYP, I think it's a good exercise actually. If we can find a good topic with the lecturer, I think something that we can develop later on for your future, maybe for master. Something that's something an issue that you can develop. I think it's good strategy lah. If you write something good lah. Don't just for the sake of writing only, you just pass, but find something, a topic that can be developed on this master thesis. That's my opinion now.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Okay, so Dr. Akhtar, I assume we already finished the Q&A session?
Okay, Alhamdulillah. We assume that everything is clear. We wait if there is a need, we will have a briefing, not briefing, a kind of workshop for FYPs, especially FYP1, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
so okay, thank you to Dr. Akhtar, Dr. Mizairi, and the other lecturers who participated in our briefing. Okay, so pertaining about the workshop, just as Dr. Akhtar mentioned earlier, we will discuss about that later. If there is one, then we will inform you later, inshallah. For the database of the company that will be available for internship, inshallah, ISRAK will give the database to our student, inshallah, later also. So you will have to wait for that. And as I said earlier, most of the students here, they will take FYP1 in the next semester, including me myself, inshallah, in the next semester for FYP1, and internship in the short semester after the next. So I hope that you guys already jot down the information that already been given by Dr. Akhtar and all of the other lecturers. So I think that's all. We end our briefing with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-As.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sa-